welcome back to Beyond the Trailer's spotlight on the newest recruits for the Expendables 3. For a crash course on the founding members, click here or the link in the video description. So we've already covered movie icons Mel Gibson and Harrison Ford, arguably the biggest names not only added to this third flick, but the franchise in general. However, I say arguably because I think there's an argument to be made for Wesley Snipes. In fact, casting Snipes might turn out to be Sylvester Stallone's smartest move, as Snipes not only has a surprisingly large and loyal fan base, but brings some much-needed diversity to Stallone's crew. So far, Jet Li has been criminally underused, largely the butt of short jokes, while with all due respect to Terry Crews, he's not and never has been a movie star. But Wesley Snipes? He's frickin' Blade! Whenever I talk about comic book movies, many of you are quick to point out that 1998's Blade was a mainstream hit long before Raimi's Spider-Man or Singer's X-Men, and the only successful comic book movie franchise to feature a non-white lead. Yep, there were 3 Blade movies with some serious talent attached. Blade 2 was directed by none other than Guillermo del Toro, his second Hollywood gig after 1997's Mimic. Could he have made Hellboy without Blade 2's success? Unlikely. And David Goyer began his march towards Batman and the DC Cinematic Universe with the Blade movies, scripting all 3 and, true to form, buying into his own hype a little too much and ruining everything when here he directed the disastrous Blade Trinity. Ryan Reynolds was pretty funny in it though, back when Ryan Reynolds was funny. And fans weren't the only ones angry over Blade Trinity, as Snipes sued distributor New Line and David Goyer for not paying him his full salary and not allowing him to weigh in on key decisions, despite his being a producer on these films since the beginning. He also felt his role was cut down for similarly political reasons. The lawsuit was eventually settled out of court, but I think we can see how this, in addition to poor fan reaction and diminished box office returns for the third movie, led to the death of the Blade franchise. Goyer. All these problems, maybe it is you. But Wesley Snipes is more than just a half-vampire vampire hunter. He has Spike Lee's stamp of approval, having starred in both Mo Better Blues and the immediate classic Jungle Fever. Even if you haven't seen it, you've heard of it. In fact, I bet you've at least heard of a number of Wesley Snipes films. Major League, New Jack City, White Men Can't Jump, and Demolition Man, opposite one Sylvester Stallone. However, interestingly, once he became Blade, it was as if that took up all of his attention and celebrity. Sure, he made other films during his Blade run, but none of them stood out like his previous works. So what happened to Snipes when Blade was pulled out from under him? He made a few films, but he wouldn't make headlines until 2006 when he was charged with tax evasion. You don't want to tick off the IRS. Just ask Al Capone. After several years in court, on December 9, 2010, Snipes reported to federal prison to begin his 3-year sentence. And he just got out in April 2013, and Stallone was practically waiting for him at the gate as the Expendables 3 began shooting just a few months later in August. So is this the beginning of Wesley Snipes' comeback, or was Blade truly the high point of his career? Be sure to share your thoughts down below and check out the rest of Beyond the Trailer's Expendables 3 Spotlights.